Hey, I want to welcome everyone to another episode of the Viking Central podcast. This is the Viking Central Vikings versus Steelers pregame show. And with me, I have Ryan Jones again, contributing to Viking Central whenever he can. Ryan, how are you?
Doing great. Doing great. Beautiful Saturday night. Ready for a morning game.
Well, it is an early game, so if you're trying to catch it, you're going to have to wake up pretty early to catch this one. And with today's Viking Central podcast, you may have seen it, but we are expecting, we did have him on a little bit earlier, but we are expecting our special guest to join us here again shortly. Um, I'm very excited with it. Cam Dantzler Sr. Is going to be joining us today on the Viking Central podcast. So, very exciting stuff today. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our amazing followers that we have out there that are watching right now. And of course, anytime during our pregame show or during the interview that we have with Cam Dantzler Sr., please go ahead, send in your comments. We'll answer those during the pregame, during the breakdown, or during the interview. If you have a question for Cam, by all means, go ahead and ask away. And obviously, our sponsors, we want to go ahead and thank them as well. We did have last week's badass player of the game, Isaiah Rogers Sr. And that was brought to you by That's Badass Wood Art. So make sure that you use code VC15 to receive 15% off. And again, that's code VC15. Luis and everyone at That's Badass Wood Art makes some great stuff. Again, if you have anything custom that you want made, all you have to do is reach out to Luis and he can probably get it done for you and it's going to look great. Also, I want to make sure that I reach out and thank SeatGeek. If you're going to any Vikings games this season, make sure that you go to SeatGeek.com and use code VikeCentral. When you do Bike Central at SeatGeek, you're going to get $20 off any $50 or more purchase. And again, that's good for any event, concert, or NFL games that you're planning to go to this season. Homage is also another one of our sponsors. If you go to homage.sjv.io/Vikings, you can receive cool discounts on awesome gear at homage.com. So I'm sporting the straight cash homie homage gear today. Again, they're comfortable shirts, clothing that they have. It's pretty cool. Go check them out. Again, homage.sjv.io/Vikings. So we're going to go ahead and dive into some of our Vikings Steelers breakdown. It's a week 4 matchup. And again, this matchup is a little bit different because you got to wake up pretty early in the morning day to be able to catch this one, Ryan. And Vikings, Steelers, Dublin Iron. It's in Croke Park. It's a 8:30 start time in Dublin, Ireland. We'll go ahead and break down this one with you. And once we have Cam join us as well, we have some different questions and some breakdown of the game that we would like him to also do with us. Now, if you didn't catch it, you can make sure that you follow and subscribe to all of our social media. Follow us on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, and of course, also make sure that you're reading our articles that we have out there on our Substack. We have some great articles out there that, again, we covered the pregame show earlier today. That article went out. We'll talk about some of that today. But check out our Substack. It's free to read for most of the articles that we have out there. Some special stuff for some of our subscribers. But again, check out our Substack. So Croke Park, Dublin, Ireland, we're experienced. We're undefeated in all of our international games that we've played so far.
So far, so
This is
good.
kind of a back-to-back where we're going to do 2 international games in a row, one against the Steelers, another one against Cleveland. And honestly, this is going to be a battle of the defenses. Now, it doesn't mean that there won't be offense in this game, but this features 2 top defenses from last year that now come in that made offseason improvements. Both teams did to their defense, with the Vikings uh, bulking up front on the inside defensive line, and then again bringing in our all-star from last week, Isaiah Rogers, in on this defense. So Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen coming in as well. And then you just take a look at what the Steelers did. They brought in Jalen Ramsey to bulk up their defense. How are you feeling going into this one, Ryan?
Well, if last year was any indication of how we perform against Aaron Rodgers in a European country, then I'm feeling pretty good because we had a Gink six. Andrew Van Ginkel
Hmm.
with pick six. He's out this game, but we definitely took it to Aaron Rodgers in a Jets uniform last year. So definitely a little different in a Steelers uniform. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, I'm thinking Brian Flores is going to give him everything that Aaron Rodgers can handle this week. Expecting another great performance out of the Vikings defense. I know the Steelers team is going to arrive pissed off because we all saw how they traveled to Europe, which I don't know. I don't know if you saw this or not, but they flew in a plane and it looked like it was just coach. They were all in coach. And then someone put together an edit and they cut to all the Vikings players. And Isaiah Rogers was like, he posted on Instagram or something like their setup where they had like video games and it was like
Yeah,
first class
a first
setup.
class
Oh
setup.
yeah. I was like, oh man, they're gonna be pissed. But no, I think that Carson Wentz is gonna be that point guard that we keep referring to him as. He's gonna, do enough not to lose us the game, and I'm feeling really good about this game. I hope I'm not, a little too high on it, but yeah, I'm expecting big things.
Absolutely. So with this game, when we go into it, I talked about the defense right now. The Vikings rank number 6 in total defense. They've allowed 271.3 yards allowed on average per game. They've only allowed 5 total touchdowns so far in 3 games.
Yeah,
That's pretty impressive stuff.
very impressive.
The Vikings rank number 3 in pass defense, number 22 in run defense. They're number 9 in scoring defense, number 4 in the league on third down D, only allowing teams 31.6%. That's pretty good stuff. And then another cool stat that I saw during the week was the Vikings are on third and long. They're only
Yeah,
allowing teams 1 of 18. Opposing teams are 1 of 18 on third and long against the Minnesota Vikings.
that was
That's super impressive stuff.
that was a Dan Orlovsky tweet, and he
Yeah,
showed,
yeah.
and yeah, and then you go back, it's like, wow, yeah, that's insane. Like, you don't want to be in third and long against this Vikings defense
Hmm.
because you're going to get a crazy look, you're going to get pressure, you're going to get exotics, and it's
Right.
super fun to watch, especially as a defensive minded guy. I love it.
We're number 9 in hurries. We're number 9 in sacks. So we're getting to the quarterback. Now,
Yeah,
taking a look at the Steelers this far, the Steelers ranked number 28 this year in total defense. But again, this is the same defensive team coming back that was a top defense last year that made improvements on their team.
yeah,
Now, with the Steelers ranking 28, they rank now some of this just is how the games ended up going, but they're number 26 in pass D, number 26 in the run. They're number 22 scoring D, number 28 in third down D, and 28 in hurries. So they're having some trouble getting to the quarterback, and that's good news for us, especially when we get into the injury report here. They played the Jets and they won that game 34-32. 17-31, they took a L against the Seahawks, and then last week that win 21-14 against the Patriots.
hmm
So, with that being said, in the defense, do you still see them having that identity as a defensive team yet?
I mean, anytime you got a TJ Watt, it's you're poised to have success on defense. So it's Mike Tomlin, it's the Steelers, it's TJ Watt. It's hard to ever count them out. Mike Tomlin's been a top tier coach in the NFL for many, many, many years now, and TJ Watt is one of the best defenders in the entire NFL. So,
Right.
um, so yeah. I mean, I know what the numbers are showing. They've had some tough matchups this year so far, and but so and that being said, I definitely expect them to come out guns blazing with a chip on their shoulder and something to prove.
Yeah. No, and With that being said, with both of these teams having super defenses, and again, I know the Steelers haven't started out that stat wise, but man, they got some players on that defense.
Hmm.
Now, both teams struggling a little bit on offense. Now, we had a great week last week, but even with that great week last week in week 3 versus the Bengals, our total offense ranks number 28 in the league. We're
Yeah,
number 30 in passing in the league, and a lot of that had to do, uh, with last three
first 2 weeks.
games. First 2 games were rough passing as far as yardage goes. That last game, we were a more balanced offense, and Carson Wentz didn't even have to play the entire game. We got to see a little bit of Max Brosberg.
Yeah,
We're
no
number
doubt.
13 in the rush. Last week was a great rushing attack that we saw, and it seemed like each game we've gotten a little bit better. And now, hey, we got Christian Darrisaw back.
Yep.
The Steelers, on the other side, they rank number 30 in total offense. They're number 24 in passing and number 31 in rushing. So they're having trouble running the ball. And with them struggling on offense and defense right now, that spells good news for the Minnesota Vikings coming into this game, right?
Hmm. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I believe this is an offense that is still kind of finding their identity. A lot of that
Hmm.
because of injuries, suspensions, the works. Jordan Addison coming back, the team getting healthy. I mean, I know you're missing Donovan Jackson, but to have 4 out of 5 year starting linemen in, and then the guy stepping up was a veteran player who has experience at that left guard position. So the camaraderie is definitely building, and we saw it last week when the team was able to open up with and march right down the field for a touchdown drive. Like we're accustomed to seeing the Kevin O'Connell offense is starting quick. That first drive touchdown is exactly what you're hoping to see out of them going into this week, of course, as well. That was refreshing because we hadn't seen anything near that in the first 2 weeks. Pretty sure 3 and out both weeks, first drive against the Bears and the Falcons, and then instantly touchdown drive against the Bengals last week. So hopefully we can build on that. And there was just much more cohesion, especially on the offensive front. When you watched back a lot of the mistakes that happened in the first 2 weeks, a lot of it was really mental stuff. I mean, you had linemen shifting one way and half the line
Hmm.
shifting the other way. You had guys missing blocking assignments. The positive is it wasn't as if the Vikings offensive linemen were getting beat straight up 1-on-1. It was mental mistakes that you're going to have some of early in the year, but you have to be able to correct. And we saw last week what happens when they're all on the same page. So I expect it to build even further upon that, and expect that offensive line to be able to set the new line of scrimmage against a touted Steelers defensive line as well.
Matt Iglia says, Skull just joined in. Can't wait for tomorrow. I'm in California, so I got to be up at 6:30 a.m. To see the Vikings defense. They're going to dominate tomorrow. Can't wait to see our offense weapons fully healthy. Um, uh, Maybe not fully healthy, but we're pretty healthy and we're getting healthier at the right time. It's great to see we have some players that are going in. At least, it looked like um, a war had just happened as far as our injury report last week, and going into this week, it looks a lot healthier. As far as our injury report going into this week, for your players that are out, JJ McCarthy, Andrew Van Ginkel, Ben Urasek, and Donovan Jackson are your players that are not playing in this game. But as far as Ryan Kelly goes, the concussion protocol he has cleared. He had full participation in practice, no designation, so he should be playing in this game. Now, for the Pittsburgh Steelers side of the house, they are for sure missing Alex Highsmith, who is one of their key linebackers this week, and that's great news for the Vikings to see Alex Highsmith out of this game. Now, also questionable, which is interesting, Joey Porter Jr. I haven't seen that sway one way or another. on whether or not he's going to be playing. But that is something to note that Joey Porter Jr. could be out in this game. And then also John O. Smith is questionable. Jalen Warren was on that report as questionable, but he's definitely trending towards playing.
Yeah.
So even though he was listed as questionable, Vikings are fully expecting him to be in this game for them to have to stop him on the run.
hmm Well, missing Naismith is definitely going to hurt him a little bit, especially with a healthy Vikings offensive line. I expect them to come out ready to pound the rock for sure. But all that starts up front. They were moving the line of scrimmage last week. If they can do that again this week, then they'll have success and look for Mason to have another big game. So I expect more touches this week.
Hmm.
I expect a closer game. So because of that, I expect more touches. So I would say he'll probably get 20 plus carries this game.
Yeah, so when we take a look at our keys of the game and what we're looking at coming up this week, these are the keys of the game that I see. So these are our five keys of the game. We'll start off with our first one, and that is that Vikings versus Steelers front seven pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, who's going to win in the trenches in this game? So again, both of these teams have some beasts, especially on the defensive side of the ball. That's definitely going to be key as well. But when we take a look at the defensive side of the ball for the Minnesota Vikings, we know that we're not going to have Andrew Van Ginkel. So being that he's out for this game, it's going to be he did play last week, but he only played like 8 plays. He was coming back from an injury, so that was an issue. In this game, he's going to come back, or sorry, he's not going to play in this game. So we're going to have something similar to where Dallas Turner is going to really need to step up in this game.
Yeah.
Um, I expect the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially with the Vikings defense and their edge pressure and inside, they're going to give two tight end looks. Aaron Rodgers isn't as mobile as he used to be, so I expect to see a lot of Jonnu Smith and Pat Fryermuth on the back on the ends, making sure that they're chipping on the ends. So we're really going to want to have our inside defensive line push really succeeding in order to capitalize in this game. And Aaron Rodgers isn't as mobile. We've seen the first 3 weeks that Jonathan Grenard has been so close to getting multiple sacks in games, and just seemingly the quarterbacks that we've been playing have been a little bit more mobile than a now 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers. So again, I expect him to get his first sack in this game.
Yeah. Yes, I would expect at least 3 sacks on the day for the Vikings defense. And I think you're going to see kind of a coming out party for Dallas Turner also, just because we saw it a little bit last week. The pressures were there. He
Hmm.
almost got home several times. He was setting the edge. I know on paper it didn't look like he had this crazy game, but when you watched back, he was all over the field. And I think he's going to build on that momentum, and I think you'll see a sack by both the edge guys, Grenard and Turner, in this game. A lot of that because the Vikings' ability to collapse the interior pocket. It's going to force Aaron Rodgers to drift left or right, and our guys are going to be there. So look for that interior pressure, especially coming from Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, and Aaron Rodgers to try to force the issue, roll out left, roll out right, have nowhere to go, sacks by either Grenard or Turner.
Absolutely. Uh, on the other side of the ball, the Vikings are looking to kind of exploit that defense. Like I said, I expect them to have, um, you know, Donovan Jackson won't be playing this game. So I expect uh, Blake Brandel, who played last year, he was the starting left guard. I expect him to do a good job and fill in that position. It's something that he's familiar with. Obviously, the Steelers are going to be looking to exploit that, but Ryan Kelly's going to be back. We have yet to have a game where we've had a fully healthy offensive line. But
Right.
still, going into this game, they're going to try to get pressure on Carson Wentz, try to force some mistakes. Uh, the Steelers have been a very good turnover team.
Yes.
The Vikings are now, as of last week, we were able to kind of fix that turnover margin with 5 turnovers. But they're going to try to force Carson Wentz into some uncomfortable spots and try to make him uncomfortable to try to force some more of those turnovers that they've been successful with so far this year.
Right.
Um, as far as the Viking side, we're going to have to make sure that, we shore up the protection game. Last week, I thought that we did a really good job. And a lot of that, again, goes back to having your left bookend back, Christian Darrisaw.
Yeah, what a difference he can make, man. And he really is a game changer. A top 5 left tackle in the league. And I mean, it just showed up. It showed up so clear that he is the focal point of that offensive line, and he's that dude. He, I mean, he was facing one of the best edge rushers in the NFL last week. I think he gave up maybe 1 pressure. Just a monster, and he's gonna have his hands full this week also. I know TJ likes to mostly rush from the Brian O'Neill side, from
Hmm.
his left or the offense's right side. So it's gonna be a lot of Brian O'Neill, but they're gonna move him around too, just to try to create any one-on-one they can and different mismatches. And so, the O-line's going to have their hands full. There's no question, but I think they got the guys. I think they're going to be all right. I really look forward to it. I love watching like the premier trench guys go at it. Edge for good versus good. Brian O'Neill versus T.J. Watt, Christian Darrisaw versus T.J. Watt. Like, it doesn't get much better than that. So just keep an eye on that and watch the games, because there's going to be a lot of them.
Yeah, and TJ Watt's going to have a tough task trying to get by Christian Darrisaw, and then they're going to try to move him around,
Mm-hmm.
uh, so he can, try to have some success. But Brian O'Neill on the other side, you're going to have to try to go inside on the Vikings. Raul Martinez says, "Skol Vikings."
Skull, baby.
Thanks, Raul. And Clinton Reisling comes in and says, "Christian Darrisaw is top 3 most important players on our team." I mean, without a doubt. I mean, we saw
It's hard to
just
argue that.
yeah, I mean, without a doubt, he's definitely a very very important part of this offense, and we saw that in weeks, especially weeks 1 and 2. What happens when Christian Darrisaw is not the main security guard or the bouncer, if you will, uh, to the Vikings club? So, yes, absolutely, totally agree with you, Christian or Clinton, and thank you so much for chiming in as well. As we get into the next one, Aaron Rodgers' experience, you know, versus the secondary depth, his experience that he has, he's been in the league for a long time. Yes, he's going to try to rely on that because of his lack of mobility, and he's got experience playing the Minnesota Vikings and stuff in the league. But again, against this Viking secondary depth, he's going to rely on his arm, his experience, and trying to expose what he thinks is a weakness in our secondary. So can we come up with some of the big plays? This isn't Jake Browning that we're facing. He's going to be able to make some big plays as well. So we have to just try to limit those and bend and not break.
No doubt. And as my printer goes crazy here, sorry. Uh, I think the number one thing for the Vikings secondary, especially against Aaron Rodgers, is not allowing DK Metcalf to beat you deep. He
Hmm.
doesn't average any separation. His separation is actually poor, comparatively speaking, to other wide receivers. But he's really fast and really fast in a straight line. So safety's got to be on point, and you got to make sure that you're not getting fooled on play actions and letting him run past you. I think that if they're able to not let them blow the top off the defense, they're going to have success. But, you're Aaron Rodgers. You still have a Hall of Fame arm. What it is now versus what it was, 5 years ago might be a little bit different. But I promise you, if DK Metcalf is running down the seam for a 50-yard touchdown pass, he's going to have the arm strength to get it there. So the Vikings better make sure that they don't let that happen. Because if you can contain him, contain Jalen Warren, as long as Warren's playing.
Hmm.
They just don't have much that can beat you offensively.
So when we get into our third one, Justin Jefferson and the Minnesota receiver corps, hey, it's week 4. After a 3-game suspension, we get Jordan Addison back. What a relief that is to have that significant of a weapon back in this offense. We, with Justin Jefferson sidelined in training camp and during joint practices, it was very clear that Jordan Addison was playing the best out of anyone on that field. So
Mm-hmm.
to have him back is going to be a huge boost or a shot in the arm for this offense. And again, we're going against a Pittsburgh cornerback uh, trio, if you will, that has some pretty higher profile corners. I did talk about Joey Porter Jr. earlier, but then also on this team, they also feature Darius Slay, and then we can't forget that they brought in Jalen Ramsey from the Dolphins.
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
those are 3 really good corners
Mm-hmm.
that this Vikings receiver core is going to have to scheme and try to get a little bit of separation to be able to give Carson Wentz some areas to throw to. So I do think that that will be uh, a challenge for us, but I do think that our receiving core that we have, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, with the addition of, and I think Jalen Naylor right now has been playing better than Adam Thielen, and maybe he's gonna see even more snaps than Adam Thielen right now. But I do think that we have the receiving core to have some success. And we can't forget about our tight ends last week that Carson Wentz threw both of his touchdowns to,
Yeah.
and Josh Oliver and TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah, no doubt. I think early on, the one thing that you're going to want to look out for in this game is how Kevin O'Connell analyzes and figures out what the Steelers' plan is on defense. Because when you have a corner like Jalen Ramsey, are you going to leave him on an island against Justin Jefferson all game and let him follow him around? Or is he going to play a side? And I think if it's going
Right.
to be one-on-one Jalen Ramsey versus Justin Jefferson all game, I think you'll see a lot of targets go to Justin Jefferson because anyone one-on-one versus Justin Jefferson, I like Justin Jefferson's odds. If they're playing a lot of zone coverage, Jalen Ramsey's playing a side, Darius Slay's playing another side. I really do think that you're going to have a lot of safety help over top on Jefferson, and I think TJ Hawkinson is going to have a lot of success in the middle. Also, Jordan Addison. If Jordan Addison gets one-on-ones, if they're double teaming Justin Jefferson on one side and then you got Slay or Ramsey against Jordan Addison on the other side, then I really expect Jordan Addison to have a good game as well. So it's going to be interesting to see the game that they play, and I'm sure Kevin O'Connell will be able to tell real quick. But something to look out for in the secondary of the Steelers is, will Jalen Ramsey just follow Justin Jefferson around all game? And if that's the case, then look for a lot of targets his way if he doesn't have safety help.
And we've seen Garrett Wilson, we've seen Jackson Smith and Jigba have success against the secondary.
No doubt.
So it's not outrageous to think that one of the best receiving duos in the NFL uh, can have success as well. So Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, I fully expect them to
Mm-hmm.
still be able to get the separation, be in spots for Carson Wentz to get him the ball. Going on to our fourth key to the game that we have is our run game efficiency. So the Vikings versus Steelers run defense. You know, the Steelers are struggling in running the ball, but they have been able to, in the short dink dunk screen game, still get Jalen Warren the ball.
Right.
So they're finding ways to still get him involved, even if it's not, just rushing the ball and having success there. So they brought in a young rookie Caleb Johnson in the offseason as well too. But again, Jalen Warren is a featured back. He was questionable, I believe, with a hip injury, but he's expected to play.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I just think with this run defense, our front seven, it kind of comes back to that front seven as well too, being able to stop them on the run. In again, if we can get a lead, pin our ears back, and let our front seven do their thing and go after Aaron Rodgers, who's not as mobile, that's going to be a key for us to be able to shut down their run game and force them to be a little bit more one dimensional. They haven't had success in the rush, so let's keep it that way.
Yeah, big contributing factor to the Vikings' success in the run game against the Bengals. And I know it's the Bengals and their offensive line is sus to put it nicely, is very sus. But the one thing that we saw was Harrison Smith being back and what a huge factor he was, especially in the run game. When he gets down in the box and he knows what's going on, he puts the guys in the position that they need to be put in to have success against the run. And I saw it multiple times, him running down inside the box, knowing what's coming, because he's such a smart, instinctual player, being able to tell Ivan Pace where to be. Ivan Pace makes a tackle or fills a hole and makes a tackle for a loss, or Harrison Smith sets an edge, which allows the pursuing defensive lineman to come in and make a tackle the right way. So having Harrison Smith back is so massive in so many fronts, but especially just because of his experience and knowledge to the game, he is able to get to the places that he needs to get to make the plays. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be tough for the Steelers. I mean, they haven't had any success running the ball already. So trying to line up against this Vikings front seven I think it's going to be a long day for them trying to run the ball, especially.
Absolutely. Uh, as we get into the special teams and the turnover battle, so for this one, you know, we have a little bit of a I don't know if you want to call it an advantage, but we have some experience in doing these international games. And because of
Mm-hmm.
that, I do think it makes it a little bit easier for our team to travel, prepare, come up with a schedule that's going to work for our players to make sure that they're ready. And so what, what could be the difference in this game? It could come down to special teams and turnovers, So whether that's magnifying what we do on punts, kickoff returns, um, penalties, fumbles, in the game or interceptions. I mean, obviously that's part of football. But the key players that I have to look at is we need Ryan Wright to be on his
Okay.
game and pinning the Steelers back at deep. Not what we saw in a game on Thursday night that I don't necessarily want to say it decided the game, but it definitely aided the game when the Arizona Cardinals tied up the game, and then on their kickoff they got it just outside of the 20-yard line, you know, and you're starting at the 40-yard line. You're letting them start at the 40-yard line, and you only have 20 some seconds on the clock. And
Yeah.
now I think it was 28 seconds, and now they get to start at the 40-yard line. What do you know? The Seahawks were able to throw a pass to Jackson Smith and Jigba and get in position for Myers to kick a field goal to win the game.
Yeah.
So special teams, it comes in the end, and again, that was just a kickoff that made a big impact in that game because there wasn't a whole lot of time, and that game definitely should have went into overtime. But again, hey, props to the Seahawks for doing what needed to get done. But then Miles Price, so we saw a near muff punt in the Falcons game, so we want to make sure that, hey, do what we can to try to flip the field in the punt return game. That's great, but obviously, when it's so crucial in the turnover game, especially if this ends up being a close one, we can't afford to have mistakes like that and not let our offense get the ball and keep our defense off the field. And that's something that we struggled with in the first two games. Last game, I mean, last game was just phenomenal to where we were exceptional in almost every facet of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't expect that to be an every game thing with this team. But yeah, Will the Thrill has been phenomenal. He hasn't missed a kick. He had that Vikings record 62-yard field goal in the last game against the Bengals before halftime. Um, so he's been solid. So my two guys to really that could have an end up having an impact on this game is that need to play well are those two players, Ryan Wright. Obviously, you want everyone to play, but then also Miles Price to be able to impact the game and secure that ball.
Yeah, and I think for all the flack that Ryan Wright caught during last season and training camp, you got to give him his flowers so far up to this year, because I think if you go look at the metrics from what I was reading, he's one of the better punters, definitely in the top quarter of the league so far this year. So, props to Ryan Wright for starting the season strong, and props to obvious props and flowers given to Big Leg Bill, who, like you said, hasn't missed a kick so far. 62-yarder, incredible, awesome to see. It's nice to have confidence at that kicking position. Um, yeah, Miles Price, a rookie. He's looked. I think he's looked pretty solid so far. I mean, out of what you expect from your punt returner, just ball security and try to move the ball forward as much as possible. Don't try to be a hero. Don't try to do anything crazy. And we've won muff so far in a game that was already out of hand. Maybe trying to do too much. It's understandable, but yeah, overall, I mean, he's been a really solid player for the Vikings.
All right, everyone. So you see me smiling, and that's because joining us today is a special guest. So he was drafted in the third round, 89th overall in the 2020 NFL draft by the Minnesota Vikings. His nickname in college was the Needle, and he's a corner with a reputation as a tough physical corner. He's made some big plays while wearing the purple uniform, and we are honored to have on this show none other than Cam Dantzler Sr. to join the Viking Central podcast. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring you right up, Cam. Welcome. How are you doing? And thank you for joining the show for first of all. But
Thank you for
how are
having
you
me.
doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing great. Both Ryan and I are super psyched to have you on the show. Obviously, like we've talked earlier, I'm a big fan of your game. I mean, honestly, the energy and everything that you brought while you were wearing the purple uniform, some big plays that I remember that we'll get into as well while you're wearing the uniform. Just excited to have you on the show.
I'm excited as well. How you doing, Ryan?
Good, man. Hey, pretty awesome of you to join us. Part of one of the best draft classes probably the Vikings have seen in recent history, and we're just happy to have you on, man. Pretty
Yes,
pretty
sir.
awesome, and
I'm
especially
pumped.
especially joining us after a tough Mississippi State loss, and hey, to still take the time to join us, you're a better man than me, man. Because if
Hail
the
State
bike,
forever.
yeah, you go. I don't know if I'd be ready to go podcast after a loss. That was tough, but it was a battle. It was a great
Yeah, for
game.
sure. It was. It was. All the way to the wire.
Yeah.
So before we get into it, I do have some comments that says, "Hey, Clinton Reisling says, "Love your moxie and your mojo, Dantzler. It's been fun." Um,
Absolutely.
the other, you know, and we saw that somewhat from your video. I mean, you play with energy, you
Hmm.
play with some of that swag as well when you were in the purple, and just you were an exciting player to watch. Now, many fans do not know this, but you're a cornerback as a professional, but
Hmm.
in high school, you were a quarterback
Yeah.
at St. Aquinas High School.
Yes, sir.
So uh, you passed as a senior for 1,381 yards, 11 touchdowns, and you rushed for 1,901 yards
Mhm.
and 26 touchdowns. That's a lot of rushing touchdowns as well.
Feel
So,
like Lamar Jackson.
I mean, crazy. So what made you decide to switch from quarterback to from a quarterback to corner? Was it the college that recruited you? Was there anybody that was recruiting you as a quarterback?
TCU is the only school actually to recruit me as a quarterback, but after watching the highlight videos of college football, I was like, I rather deliver the blow than receive it. So
Sure.
yeah, schools always liked me as a defense because I play like free safety, nickelback here and there, like showing glimpses of defense on that. But I always liked to tackle growing up, so I always kind of figured defense was gonna be my, sauce at the next level.
Well,
who
obviously you
recruited
made the
you?
right
Sorry, go ahead.
choice. Yeah,
Who
go
Say
ahead.
it again.
recruited you out of high school? Which coach at Mississippi State recruited you out of high school?
Coach Knox, Gregory
Yeah.
Knox. Yeah.
What was it like coach or playing for Coach Moorhead? And even more than that, I think Buckley was your position coach, right?
Yes, sir.
Terrell.
Yeah, Super Bowl
Yeah.
champion Terrell, but he
Mm-hmm.
played for the Patriots, right?
Yes, sir. Patriots and
Yeah.
Dolphins.
So
Yeah.
tell me about them guys. What was it like playing for them?
Well, when I first came in, actually, I had Dan Mullen as my head coach, and it
Oh
was
yeah.
balls to the wall, tough. Yeah, but it was a great experience. They taught me a lot of things, how to like my work ethic, um, how to approach things as a professional. Both head coaches, actually, Dan Mullen and Coach Joe Moorhead, they were great guys. Team first, players, coaches. So it was a very, very great experience for me to be a part of that family and have a guy like Coach Buck coach me. I like to tell people he honestly made me the DB I am today because when I first got to college, I didn't know anything about cornerback. So it was a fun 3 years having him around and prepping my game up.
So why did you choose Mississippi State? So out of all the schools that were recruiting you, what just said, "Hey, I want to go there and be a Bulldog"?
It was just a gut feeling, and every time I went there on a visit, it felt like home to me, honestly. So and that's why I was looking for in the schools to feel exactly like home because I was gonna be away from home. So it just felt great, and like I said, I prayed about it, and I felt like that's what God wanted me to be, and that's why I ended up.
So the nickname the Needle, did that come from while you were in college at Mississippi State, or where did that come
Actually,
from, and who gave it to you?
actually, it's a funny story. It came from high school, my freshman year. Coach Bolton actually gave me that name. It was my defensive coordinator at the time.
Okay.
I came up from safety on the play. I was probably 150, and I hit the running back. And when I hit him, he stayed on the ground for a little bit. And coach was like, "Oh my God, he's so small, but he'll come up and hit you. We're gonna call him the Needle."
Yeah.
So that's how I got the nickname, the Needle, and it kind of just stuck.
And you did hit hard. And while you were a Mississippi State Bulldog,
Mhm,
so in your junior year, in your redshirt junior year, you were named a preseason All-American, and you were on watch list for the Bednarik, the Nagarsky, and the Jim Thorpe awards. And
mhm.
so instead of playing your senior year there, what made you decide to jump to the NFL draft out of your junior year?
I felt like I had a phenomenal year and I was ready for the next level. And I talked to my parents, I talked to my head coach, my position coach, and they felt like me going to the next level was the best step for me. And I finished graduating. Well, I finished school and I graduated that same year. So it was kind of like a perfect setup for me. So I kind of just went with it.
So
And
obviously, you made the right choice. You were selected in the third round. So
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
How much did well, I think Mississippi State was going through transition period at that time from Coach Moorhead, right? Did that play
Yeah,
a factor into your decision?
not really because I already made a decision
Yeah.
like probably like 3 games before the season ended. Because I was like, okay, like I'm against these guys like Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, and I'm holding my own. So it's like,
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. So I'm like, I'm holding my own. So it's like it's time to
Yeah.
go to the next level.
Yeah. What did you get a chance to meet Coach Leach before leaving
I w-
Mississippi State?
no, so I
No.
wish I would have. I heard he was a great guy.
Oh yeah, I've heard crazy stories about that guy.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Um, so you went to the NFL draft,
hmm
and what was that preparation like at the draft, and who gave you the call to tell you that you were selected as a Minnesota Viking?
The prep was crazy. I was kind of like nervous because it was a lot of questions about my speed, me gaining weight. So my main focus, I knew I was fast coming out. My main focus was gaining weight, and I feel like I put on too much weight, and it kind of
Yeah.
affected me the way I ran or whatever. So, but that's behind me. Still worked out. Got selected by the Vikings, and coach, the GM, Rick Spellman called me. And I heard the phone ring, like my heart dropped. I'm like, it's finally happening. About time.
So we hear of certain players when they do team interviews getting just
Mhm,
crazy questions. When teams are calling and or
mhm,
bringing you in, whatever it is. When scouts were taking a look at you at a pro day or whatever, or,
mhm.
or at the draft, did you have any crazy questions that you maybe received from a team that you remember that was just kind of off the wall that caught you by surprise?
Not really. Not really. I guess the way I approached the meeting, it would have kind of been like a lot of weird if they'd asked a weird question because the way I approached the
Yeah.
meeting with excitement and enthusiasm. So it's kind of like, okay, let's get straight to it.
Yeah. When you saw that the Vikings drafted Justin Jefferson in the first round,
hmm
and then you knew you were going to Minnesota after you had
Mhm.
just finished your career playing against Justin
hmm
Jefferson, were you like, damn, man, still? I still got to play this guy
you
every
know,
day now?
it's crazy. We actually trained together during the combine prep. So it's
Oh,
kind of
that's
like we was
That's
always with each
great.
other. So when it happened, we was kind of like excited about it. Like, dang, you just can't get away from me, huh?
and Gladney too, man, right? He was
Yeah.
drafted with you that same
Yes,
year.
sir.
What
Close
kind of
friend, yes, sir.
friendship did you guys have?
Ooh, we had a very close friendship. We met each other during combine prep, became close, and from that day, it was just like we knew each other forever, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So who was your best friend, I guess, or one of your closest friends that you had as a player with the Minnesota Vikings? You were here for 3 years,
hmm
drafted in 2020. You played 2020, 21, and 22 seasons. But who was that close friend that you kind of hung out with, or who
It's
was
kind
that
of
for
fun.
you?
Chris Boyd.
Oh yeah. CB.
Yep, KB, my guy. That was my everyday buddy. We did everything together. But I mean, everyone really liked me, but that's somebody that I kind of always, click tight with.
Sure. Now, in the 2022 season against the Bears, for me, when I think of highlights and stuff for you, the one that really comes to mind is I remember watching this Bears game where we had Amir Smith Marset. It was toward the end of the game. The Bears were driving, trying to uh, score and tie the game, and you had that game sealing turnover that we saw. Actually, it was in your intro video as well, where you ripped the ball away from your former teammate, which I don't want to say did something to his career, but you ripped
hmm
that away, and that was a game-sealing turnover
hmm
that you ripped that ball game, and we ended up winning that game 29-22 because I think there was maybe a minute
hmm
left in that game, but. That's what I think about for that immediately comes to mind when I think of some of the plays and key plays and turnovers and the
hmm
impact that you made. What was a key moment to you while you're wearing the uniform in purple, down in that purple?
Ooh, I
Or
honestly,
key moments even.
like you said, that the forced fumble was a key moment for sure because that was a big play for us to help us win. Um, I know. I just feel like when I was in the purple, I kind of, just played my role, did my job, just did what I had to do. And especially my rookie year, the game when I had the forced fumble, the fumble recovery, and the interceptions versus the Jaguars, it was down 9-0 in that game. And I feel like I kind of gave the team a spark and we ended up winning. So I feel like that was one of my, exciting moments for me, my rookie year.
That was your Isaiah Rogers moment.
Yeah, for sure. No, no, no. He he kind of set the bar way up here.
Sure, sure.
I, I don't know how you have a better half of football than Isaiah did this year.
It was incredible.
What's it like to be so when you were there, you had DBs that you were getting mentored by and
Mhm,
preparing for games, but what's it like to prepare and get mentored and work with Harrison Smith? And you had
mhm,
Patrick Peterson there while you were
mhm.
there too for a period of time. What's that like?
I mean, I feel
Those
like
guys are going to be Hall of Famers someday, right?
exactly. Well, me and Pat Peace kind of stay like 7 minutes away, so I used to always bug him, go to his house. Hey, let's watch this together. So he kind of make me feel slow a little bit, like I know what I was doing, because his IQ was crazy, just like Harrison Smith. So it's kind of like those two guys. They hit me like with my IQ. They slowed the game
Hmm.
down for me my third year. It took some time, but like my first 2 years, I felt like the game was kind of fast for me. So, but my third year, I kind of slowed down. So that's when I feel like I started bettering myself and bettering my career, like my third year. Um, like I said, those guys just kept my head on straight and just prepared me each and every week.
Now, I talked about it a little bit. 2022 was your last year with the Vikings, and you had
Hmm.
some stops with some other teams that had picked you up, and then you were activated, and you played a little bit with the Saints.
Hmm.
Um, but then you played in 2024 in the UFL,
Hmm.
and you were in Dolphins training camp just this off season. And currently you're a free agent.
Hmm.
So with that, I'm guessing you're staying in shape just in case there's a certain team that may need a cornerback, agent number three to come
Hmm.
in and play a little bit of cornerback.
But yes, I'm ready. Like you said, I'm staying prepared, and whenever the time is right, it's going to happen. Like it's on God's timing, and I'm just trusting His plan and just doing my part.
So how did you prepare when you were a Minnesota Viking for game day? You played in an international game with the Viking Steelers playing in Dublin, Ireland. You've been in those shoes before. What is that routine like in an international game, and how do you prepare for something like that?
Well, I feel like having a head coach like Kevin O'Connell, he kind of wanted us to stay focused. So I feel like that team is going to stay focused and prepare like they in Minnesota. So that's how we kept the same schedule. We treated just like it was a home game for us, honestly. So I feel like he's going to have those guys prepared, and just like your everyday routine. Just because you're in a different country doesn't mean your routine changes. So that's going to be the main focus, is just keep the same routine.
You got to
What's it like with the
experience.
fans, right? Oh,
Oh,
sorry. Go ahead, Ryan.
the the Vikings fans, the best fans in the country. I don't care nobody say.
Good,
Go
good,
ahead,
good
Ryan.
answer. Good answer. What I don't remember what I was going to say. Oh yeah, what you? I mean, you got to play for a defensive-minded head coach, Mike
Mhm,
Zimmer, and
mhm.
then you got to play for Kevin O'Connell as well. So kind of like, I mean, what were some key differences between the two guys, and what kind of shift did you see in the Vikings culture transitioning from Zimmer to O'Connell?
Well, when Mike Zimmer was there was more pressure on the defense, especially the DBs, because that was like his specialty. So
Yeah,
he kind of, like always was watching us and seeing if who was gonna mess up and wrong technique. So it was kind of like more pressure with Zimmerman. As of KO, he was like, more chill, more offensive type guy, quarterback, receiver. But I learned a lot from Mike Zimmer and Kevin O'Connell, even with him being an offensive minded coach.
yeah.
Those were some great head coaches that I had, and I learned a lot from them.
Was Ed
How is that
Donatel maybe a little
relationship?
too chill?
Say again.
Was Donatel maybe a little too chill?
Not really. He kind of get on your tail a little bit here and there, but
you,
he was kind of laid back, calling plays type stuff.
you know what the Vikings fans call him, right? Donna
Well,
Shell.
Oh, I didn't even know
Like
that.
he plays a cover 2 shell. They call him Don Shell.
Hey, the fans, not me.
I know, I hear that.
So you got to go up against, at one of the best wide receivers in the game, and if I'm being biased, the best wide receiver in the game,
Absolutely.
with my opinion. But who other than Justin Jefferson, going against him in practice in a game? Who were some of the receivers, or who was the best wide receiver or wideout that you had to cover?
I always go back to my rookie year. Calvin Ridley, who was with Atlanta. Guy was shifty in and out his breaks. Other than him, Devontae Adams. We know, like, we game planned a lot for Devontae, so there wasn't really as much pressure on the corners,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. So, like, we had a great defensive coordinator, so it was kind of like it wasn't that bad, honestly. But like, I'll say Calvin Ridley, honestly. Hats off to him for sure. But like you said, guarding Justin Jefferson every day at practice, it was kind of like, okay, you're going against the best. I feel like he was the best his rookie year. So it's kind of
How,
like, okay.
how much
Like,
credit do you take for Justin Jefferson's career? Because I feel like
I
coming in
take
the same year.
all the credit.
Yeah.
But no, he's a hard worker. He's a guy that wants to be the best, and it shows. Like the way he approached the game, what he approached every day. He's a hard worker. He's hungry. Even though he knows he's the best, he's still hungry. So that's what I like about Justin.
Oh, yeah.
So we talked a little bit about your career coming from high school, college, into the Vikings, but looking back at your younger self, in
Hmm.
entering the league with the Vikings, what advice would you give to your younger Cam Dantzler self coming into the league and playing with the Vikings?
The advice I give my younger self is, keep God first. Always, keep praying. No matter how great your life is going, always keep God first and stay humble. I feel like 2 years ago, I wasn't humble. I wasn't handling situations like a pro. I wasn't, I had my little moments. Always live in a moment. I'll tell my younger self to always, be coachable and get a vet and just follow under his wing and stay humble and hungry. That's what I would give my advice to my younger self.
That's awesome. And you still follow a lot of the Viking games
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
and watching them?
I feel like a chili. They might as well give me some pom poms.
So for some reason, if they needed a Cam Dantzler, you'd be on the first flight to
The
Minnesota.
first flight, playing in the snow.
So,
Ready to spin. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, and I do have a couple questions for you for the Vikings Steelers game.
Okay,
But I do want to jump into last week because you have that cornerback experience, you've been in these shoes. And I'm just gonna go ahead and play a couple clips of the performance that we had from Isaiah Rogers from last week,
okay.
and just want you to comment on what you kind of see, and just the kind of play that he showed last week was obviously record setting, but man, it was impressive stuff.
Yes, it was.
The play before you get a first down, play action pass, sneak in draws and stuff on second down.
It's a 2nd and 9. And Browning scanning, throwing, picked off, intercepted by Isaiah Rogers, and he's racing down the sideline, and he will not be caught going the distance.
You'll see.
Now, with that play, a key thing for us was getting Harrison Smith back for sure. And
Hmm.
on that play, Harrison Smith actually tipped that pass.
He
Uh,
disguised it like crazy. Like
yeah, walk us through
it,
it. Do you know what coverage they were in? And
that's what I was trying to see because I was trying to look at Hitman, and it was kind of
sure,
seeming
sure,
like
sure.
it was in like a cover six almost with the safety playing the hook curl because it looked like Isaiah was playing like deep to short right there. It doesn't look like he
Uh,
had a
it-
man at all. It looked like he
we,
was playing
we
like
we
a
got a
cloud
little bit
technique.
more of that video that might help you here.
Smith pretends he's
Yeah.
back, so it makes Browning start with his eyes wrong, and then just reading the quarterback's eyes, and boom, gets that finger on it. Could have been a first down instead.
Yeah,
7
it looked like there was like
the play before you get a first down.
Oh, sorry, let me get rid of that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it looked like a cover 6 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you got Isaiah playing the cloud hit and coming down like he's playing like a hook curl zone eyes type of deal, and backside you had the corner like playing like a quarters.
and like you
How
said, he disguises that defense so well,
He does.
and the way that Brian Flores and especially with these three safety looks too,
Hmm.
coming up on the line, backing off, you don't know whether they're coming or going or dropping back
Right.
into coverage. They gave a look last week where both safeties, dropped back down, and you look like they were totally locking in against
Yes.
the run, and then they drop back into shell coverage. So I think it's really tough, for quarterbacks to really
Absolutely.
decipher what the Vikings are doing at the line. And unless you're seeing it, especially when you're not seeing it week in, week
Hmm.
out, but I think it's really hard for other teams to even prepare with a scout team
Yeah, I
coming into
love
a
it though.
game.
I love it. I text Josh honestly Josh Metellus 2 weeks
yeah.
ago. I was like,
Hmm.
bro, I would kill in Brian Flores defense.
How-
Like,
Does he
make
talk
something
about how
happen.
much fun they're having playing in it?
Yes, yes. And I love to see him having fun. Like, I love to see him having fun. They deserve it for sure.
Yeah, it's got to be
Yeah.
crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
just like he gives them so much free reign. Just be in the spot you're supposed
Exactly.
to be
Hmm.
in, and
Play ball, make plays.
oh, that's fun defense. I'm a
Now,
defensive guy myself.
Yeah.
now I got another clip to show you as well from last week with Isaiah Rogers, and this was his second touchdown to where he was able to have a fumble recovery and take it to the house. Let's go ahead and take a look at that.
1st and 10, 2 minutes to go. First half. It's been dominated by Minnesota, but Bengals can make things interesting. Plus, they get the third quarter kick. It's Fant. Lost the football. It's Rodgers again, off and running. Oh, my goodness. He runs it back for a second touchdown today. Yards this time.
I want you to watch this, Jim. This ball, it's caught. He turns. Here comes Rodgers flying in, and he goes, boom! Give me that ball. And then the wherewithal to pick that ball up and take off. And we heard from Tracy.
Unbelievable.
Kevin O'Connell said when he gets the ball in his hands, I thought it was going.
Now, Isaiah Rogers has incredible speed, but obviously he did that all himself. So
Exactly.
typically you will see a player get the forced fumble, another player
Hmm.
picks it up and takes the run. He did the peanut punch,
Hmm.
and he took that ball to the house himself.
Yeah.
And you saw him look back, and he knew nobody was catching him.
Exactly. He knows he's spies. You see me,
Now,
Josh. You see Josh Metellus trying to keep up.
And,
I think
and
he
I think
said after
I
the
think it was
game, he
this.
was like, I couldn't catch him.
Yeah, and you heard Brian Flores talk about, I think he said if my son comes to hug me, he better be punching at me. Uh, in practice, was that as big of a thing during
Mhm.
the Zimmer years as well?
Yes.
Working on punching out the football as well.
We did a turnover drill every week. Like that was just our thing. Punch the ball, second man in, punch the ball. You get a good angle, punch the ball. That's all we really practice. Punch the
Hmm.
ball.
Yeah,
Even on team periods, punch the ball.
that would have
Well,
been
he had two forced fumbles. He had another one in the game. He didn't get the recovery himself, but he forced the fumble
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, he probably was dreaming, punch the ball, because that's all we used to hear. Punch the ball.
that would have been you versus the Bears if you weren't so unselfish.
Yeah, yeah. The good thing about that is Kevin O'Connell, he does a great job with like situational football.
Yep.
And
That was a
with
smart
me,
play.
that was just me just being a vet. Just I don't need to score this. Just win the game. Just fall.
Yep.
So yeah. Yep.
So I do have a question for you. So in this game, with because you faced Aaron Rodgers before in your career, what's it like preparing for Aaron Rodgers, and what is that defensive back room think about? How do they prepare to go against Aaron Rodgers?
Well, first I want to say this. When Aaron Rodgers see me my rookie year, he looked at me and said, "I've been playing as long as you've been living, son." I said, "Whoa, I'm sorry." But I feel like Brian Flores is going to do a great job game planning for him. He's going to show a lot of different looks. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. He know how to
Yeah.
read defenses, so I feel like
Hmm.
the Vikings going to disguise very well. And not tip their coverages before pre-snap.
Yeah. When you have a veteran like Harrison Smith,
Hmm.
those two individuals have seen each other for over a decade.
Absolutely.
So a lot of experience in the room going against Aaron Rodgers. I think Harrison's gonna help get that defensive back room just ready to go. We have
Hmm.
two top defenses, and as a former defensive player, you probably are excited to see this game,
Oh no, absolutely.
knowing that there's a lot of key defensive players on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, it's going to be a defensive game for sure.
How
I feel
much
We
like it's going
talked,
to be. I feel like it's going to be a low scoring game, honestly.
yeah. Yeah, I
and
could
we'll
see
get
But
to
that.
that.
yeah.
How much are offenses game prepping for a player like a Jalen Ramsey and a TJ Watt?
Oh, Kevin O'Connor is an offensive genius. I feel like he's going to draw some stuff up, and a lot of people's going to be shocked. So I feel like he's going to, move some pieces around, do a lot of stacks, and a lot of different route combinations.
So I do have some comments in here that I should probably get to because they're kind of stacking up a little bit. Tim White says, "Cam the man." Clinton Raisling says, "Great interview. I stayed because it is so good, and a lot of that is thanks to you, Cam. I appreciate you joining us."
Yes,
A
sir.
Brown says, "The needle," and they say, "Call him a needle because he used to stick people." I thought he was going to be good, but Donatel's defense strategy was trash. And then Donatel there,
any
but
comment? Any comment on that one?
No comment. No
All right,
comment.
all right.
yeah, and we would have gone deep in the
Oh,
playoffs
jeez.
if the DC was good. So you don't need to comment on that one, unless you want to. But A. Brown also says 100,000 Vikings fans sitting on our couches knew that strategy was horrible off coverage. Let them catch it and tackle. So stupid. Flores took the same defense with a few new players, finished 16th. Okay, basically same players. B Flow prove what we already knew.
All
All
right.
right, so that's some of the comments
You
that
know
we
how the
had in
Vikings
there.
fans feel about Ed Donatel.
Ed Donatell. So
That's
everyone's
crazy.
been pretty happy with the job that Brian Flores has done since he came to the
Mm,
Vikings. These were
absolutely.
just some of the keys of the game that we had that we talked about a little bit. I don't know if what do you see as the possible key to the game if you're the Vikings? What do you need to do successfully to be able to win this game? And let me get rid of this banner here.
First, I feel like they should be able to run the ball, come out running the ball heavy. They got a lot of their key guys back on the offensive line. And really just with what's his name? Jordan Addison coming back. I feel like he's
Hmm.
gonna put the ball in his hands a lot, get him to space, use his speed, his deep ball. Um, they got their receiving core. So I feel like this is gonna be a great matchup between the secondary of Pittsburgh with Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey. Um, I thought they're gonna match Ramsey up with Justin Jefferson, honestly, because I feel like that matchup is always personal. Um,
Now, is he going to follow him around the field because they like to move around Justin Jefferson, whether it be as the X Z. He does move to the Z at times, and then he likes
mhm.
to go into the slot as well. So is he going to shadow him, or are we going to see a little bit of a switch off here and there?
I feel like we're gonna see a switch off here and there. I thought they're not going to try to wear Jalen Ramsey out as much because I know Justin
Hmm.
Jefferson, he's going to move around a lot. He might be in the backfield some plays. So, like I say, with a great offensive mind like Kevin O'Connell, he's going to make sure he get his star guy the ball. So he's going to put him in great situations to get the ball.
So when we talk about turnover battle and stuff like that in a game like this. I know that's going to be a key thing, but when
Mhm.
you're guarding Justin Jefferson, you're double teaming him. What kind of things are you thinking if you're that guy out on an island now on Jordan Addison?
And like I said, Jordan Everson, he could be a wide receiver one for any other team. So I feel like you have to treat him and respect him as a wide receiver one as well. So I feel like oof, they got so many weapons. It's kind of hard to just try to focus on Justin the whole time, honestly. So I feel like but I feel like honestly the Pittsburgh corners matchup it's going to be a great matchup, honestly, because you still have Darius Slay over there. You have to respect him. He's a
Hmm.
guy's all pro guy, can make plays. He's very sticky. So I feel like it's going to be a great matchup. It's I feel like it just depends on who can move the ball, manage the clock, and put points on the board. Because it's
Yeah,
going to be a defensive game for sure.
yeah. If you're a defensive coordinator facing Justin Jefferson, are you more apt to play safety over top help, or do you like the east-west double team, sort of like the Bill Belichick style? He loved to double team guys, um, running alongside both sides of the receiver. What do you think is more effective versus Justin Jefferson?
I feel like well, I wouldn't even say two man. Justin, he's so crafty. He sets you up good. Like
Yeah,
he makes everything look the same. That's what I liked about him and studied from him. I'm like, because I used to practice against him, I used to be like, bro, you make everything look the same. Your releases look the same. You making every route look the same. So it's kind of like very like challenging to guard him.
Hmm.
But I would say hmm, it depends on who the corner is. Because if you probably can go two man. Honestly,
yeah,
you
yeah.
just got to stay low hip because he can get you to where you be low hip and he'll still get open.
So in this game, you're going to be watching tomorrow morning, right?
Absolutely.
Now, if you had to give us your game prediction of what you think the score is going to be, who do you think wins and what do you think the score is? Do the Vikings keep their unbeaten international game streak going?
I got the Vikings 17-13.
Okay. What about you,
Very
Ryan?
low scoring. Yeah, I think along the same lines as Cam. It's going to be low scoring, but I'll put them 24-17. Only they get a defensive score.
I'm going to prices right you, and I'm going to go a little bit higher.
Oh
And I'm
shoot!
going to go 24-20. Still a decently low scoring game. I do think
Yeah.
defense is going to be key in this game in turnovers as well. Um, but those are our predictions that you have so
So,
far. You heard all three of us
yeah,
picking the Minnesota Vikings. We have our special guest, Cam Dantzler, picking the Vikings tomorrow, 17-13. I love it. Honestly, thank you so much for joining the show that
Yes,
we
sir. Thank you.
I want to have you back on, and if that's
I'd
ever
love to be
something that
back.
we can
Yeah.
do again, absolutely. And we'd love to see you back in purple sometime too.
Yes,
um
sir.
you know who knows, maybe that's something that's in the future as well, but you're more than welcome to join this show at any time, break down any Vikings games. And you have some other fans on here too, Maria saying hi Cam, I'm so ready for tomorrow morning. And we are
Me
so
too.
back from Clinton as well. But yeah, everybody watching here online, appreciate you being online and joining us with Cam Dantzler joining us. I mean, honestly, good career that you've had so far, and hope if it's not with the Vikings, I hope that you catch on with another team and
Yes,
you're
sir.
ready to spin it again.
Absolutely.
All right. Well,
Thank y'all.
with Ryan, do you got anything else that you want to add?
no. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. I know since we all predicted low scoring games, it's going to end up being a shootout. So,
Exactly.
so take the over, everyone. Take the over.
So this is Viking Central. We got Cam Dantzler Sr. on. Hopefully we get him back again. For Ryan and myself, thank you so much for watching Viking Central. And thanks to our sponsors. That's Badass Wood Art, SeatGeek, and then, of course, Homage. So again, until next time, make sure you tune in tomorrow morning for the Vikings versus the Steelers. Go Vikings and Skull. Let's get that W tomorrow.
Skull.
Skull Vikings. Thanks, Cam.
Thank y'all. Yes, sir.